G'day, guys and gal. In life, there are times where you do something incredibly stupid for a long period of time. Once you realize what you're doing and how stupid it is, you get a moment of, wow, I am the dumbest person to walk this planet. Someone please euthanize me. For me, this occurred 3 days ago, when I realized the reason why I've been struggling so much with the YouTube bot demonetizing me so often wasn't because YouTube hated me, but because at the end of all my videos, I would share a screenshot of my Discord and invite people to join. In the Discord, all the roles have the word cunt in them, and whilst YouTube is mostly okay with swearing, the bot hates it when text comes up with swear words in them. This has cost me thousands of dollars. I am a retard. Whilst Majorkill has seen the error of his stupidity, the Dark Angels have not. Their rampant attempts at covering up the existence of the fallen angels, those being the Dark Angels who betrayed the Lion, has resulted in the senseless death of many of the Imperium's people, as well as the Dark Angels themselves. This is part 2 of my Dark Angels Explained video. In part 1 we looked into the origins of the Dark Angels and what they did during the Great Crusade and Horus Heresy. We also deep dove into the lore of Lionel Johnson, and I can comfortably say that I am not the only one who thought he was black due to his name. So take that, Christians. In this video we'll check out what they've been up to since Daddy Lion got put into a coma, paying special attention to characters such as their current Supreme Grandmaster Azrael, as well as what the deal is with Cypher. Just an update on the naughty little calendar I'm putting together. All artworks are currently in production with 4 completed, including the Dark Angels one, so if you really want to get immersed in the lore, then get hyped for that. I'll announce when the calendar is ready, should be at the end of the month. Any patron doing $10 or more per month will get the digital version of the calendar for free. Let's get into it. With the disappearance of the Lion, the Dark Angels had a bit of a culture shock. Their pride and honour used to be what drove them forward to be one of the greatest of the Space Marine legions, but now it was their greatest flaw. The Dark Angels were so concerned about what might happen to their reputation if it got out that they were the only loyalist legion who had a large chunk of their Marines not only betray them, but were also still active in the galaxy. They have taken this to a point where their reputation is so much worse now than it would have been if they just admitted what had happened in the first place. Like, they have received a number of formal complaints by other Space Marine chapters due to their habit of abandoning battles midway because there might be like one fallen angel on the other side of the galaxy. Now, last video we did discuss the meme about if Dark Angels are loyal or not, and if it was funny. Watch the video for that conclusion. But the reason why people talk about the Dark Angels' loyalty is because A, they seem to be overcompensating and covering up their betrayal, and B, a captured fallen angel expressed that the Lion was going to betray the Emperor if he thought the Emperor would lose, which is why he arrived late to the Battle of Terra. He was watching it play out. He then claimed that the reason why they fired on the Lion as he returned to Caliban is that he would misinterpret why the planet was so messed up and kill them, and he also probably betrayed the Emperor. Hence, as an Emperor loyalist, it was the fallen angel's duty to kill who he perceived as a traitor Primarch. This could have been a really interesting point if it was done correctly. The captured fallen angel was an Emperor loyalist who hated chaos. Only Luther was truly corrupted by chaos. The rest of the fallen angels did not actually betray the Lion due to chaos. However, this all goes down the bin when the fallen angel escapes and teams up with Typhus, that very explicitly chaos mutated dude, and attempts to take over the galaxy. On top of that, the Lion never actually did anything traitorous. Yeah, he was a bit of a dick when capturing Conrad, but never heretical. The Lion was painted as pretty much the most loyal Primarch. When Kairos Fateweaver attempted to turn him to chaos, the Changer of Ways had no clue what to actually say to the Lion, as he realized there was nothing the Lion wanted from chaos. Kairos was then killed by the Lion, who stated that loyalty is its own reward. The Lion would go on to become the one who broke the Night Lords as well as Conrad's spine, as well as being instrumental in getting Sanguinius and the Blood Angels to Terra in time to save the Emperor. Now that that debate is put to rest, we have established that the Lion and by extension the Dark Angels are loyal, we can continue on this video and appreciate how stupid modern day Dark Angels' attitude is. The Dark Angels formed a conclave of their leaders, a small circle who would be the only ones that would actually pass on what happened on Caliban to the future generation of Dark Angel leaders, whilst the rest of their legion and the successor chapters would be kept in the dark. All the other Dark Angels outside of that inner conclave were sworn to secrecy on threat of death. This has obviously been pretty jarring in practice, as when a fallen is sighted, the conclave have to direct Dark Angels who have no clue what a fallen is or why they are hunting them to capture them. Imagine it going something like this. Captain, this is the Chapter Master. I need you to pull all your forces from the battle and make haste to this star system. We have reports of some dude wearing Dark Angel's armor that he spray painted black and now he's been an asshole, so capture his ass. And the captain would reply with, Chapter Master, we are on the brink of victory in this battle. If we pull out now, the enemy will regroup and massacre our allies, putting billions of people on this planet in danger. And the Chapter Master would be like, fucking do it, okay? This has happened a few times. The reason why the Imperium didn't poke glaring plot holes in the Dark Angel's retelling of what happened to Caliban and the Lion is due to the Great Scouring. Once the traitors were beaten at Terra, they were hunted by the Loyalist Legions and fought back into the Eye of Terror. The Dark Angels were one of the few Loyalist Legions who still had most of their strength, hence they were ruthless in their hunt against the traitors. At this time, they also assumed all of the Fallen were dead from being sucked into the warp when Caliban exploded, so they weren't very distracted. Due to this, the Imperium didn't want to antagonize the Legion, so it was easy just to accept their explanation. Without the distraction of the Fallen, the Dark Angels emasculated the rectums of the traitor forces. All who fought with them were like, geez, these guys are nasty. In a good way. It was only after the Scouring when the Fallen began to re-emerge did the autism really kick off. The Dark Angels were worried that the Fallen would dibby-dob on them, and they saw it as a chance to redeem themselves as they gave themselves probably the hardest task in the galaxy: capture all the Fallen, Space Marines that had been flung through time and space, and make all of them repent their sins, despite the majority of them thinking they were doing the right thing for the Legion. You're kinda setting yourself up for failure there, my guys. To make it more difficult, the Fallen aren't even a united force. A lot of them have different opinions on how things should go. Some feel bad about what happened, some embraced chaos, some are loyal to the Emperor but not the Imperium, and some are just here for a good time. The Fallen Angel mentioned earlier briefly teamed up with another two but quickly left them as their ideologies were different. He then joined up with Chaos and was thwarted by the Dark Angels, who were aided by Cypher, another Fallen Angel. The Fallen Angels concept is really cool, and when they next get to shine a light on them, I really hope they go down the path of making them renegade, not servants of chaos, with some of them even being redeemed and rejoining their Dark Angel brothers. Cypher. The first casualty of this retarded obsession was when 3 Dark Angel successor chapters were baited by Chaos into the Eye of Terror, obviously using the Fallen as bait. One of the chapters were annihilated and the other 2 were completely decimated. Not wishing to explain why they charged into the Eye of Terror, the Dark Angels decided that the best course of action would be to plasma bomb their own records. Nice. For the next 10,000 years, the Dark Angels would remain as an extremely potent force against Chaos and the Xenos, who were now able to penetrate the vulnerable Imperium, only ever copying an L when the Fallen were involved. I'll now list some highlights of the Dark Angels that occurred before the 41st millennium and the current Warhammer 40k plotline. Cypher would appear time and time again, often to aid the Dark Angels. When a Supreme Grand Master was slain by an Orc, the Orc went to loot his corpse, but then Cypher appeared behind him and was like, "Nothing personal, kid," before killing him. He then allowed the Dark Angels to recover the sacred artifacts as well as the body of the Supreme Grandmaster. To further prove how loyal and badass the Dark Angels are, the 12th Grand Master of the Dark Angels contracted Nurgle's rot, which is like AIDS combined with super herpes. And instead of pledging to Nurgle for salvation or attempting to find a cure, hence risking infecting others, he immediately vacated his position to his successor and then walked into the Rock's ship reactors. An Inquisitor ends up capturing a fallen angel who is able to get him to spill the beans about what happened to the Lion and Caliban. The Inquisitor and his crew are then murdered by the Dark Angels, who take the fallen angel and dispose of the evidence. As mentioned, the Dark Angels would go on to receive numerous complaints, one from the Ultramarines and another from the Silver Skull chapters for abandoning them mid-campaign in order to try and chase down Cypher. Cypher, being the literal god of doing whatever the fuck he wants, makes all these pursuits pointless. The only time he is captured is when he literally flies to the Dark Angels to help them out or tell them something, and even then he escapes almost instantly afterwards. Another time an Imperial world rebelled against the Imperium, hence the Guardsmen were to be deployed as it seemed like a reasonably easy world to take back. However, the Dark Angels were like, "Allow us to," and deployed a fuck off massive portion of their forces. Very much overkill, however it was due to the presence of the Fallen who they were actually able to capture. Funnily enough, the Dark Angels will only execute the Fallen who have repented, hence any who deny they did anything wrong are kept alive in the bowels of the Dark Angels' fortress monastery, the Rock. This would happen a few times, Dark Angels randomly appearing to reinforce the Imperium unannounced, go full overkill on a planet and then capture some of the enemy, who were the Fallen. I guess this was one of the few upsides of their mad hunt. The Tower once tried to annex one of the Dark Angels' recruiting worlds, not knowing what its purpose was. This ended horrifically for the Tower as the Dark Angels deployed their full might against the vaginally flaced Blue Boys and massacred their entire army in a single day. After the 40th millennium, the Dark Angels and the Space Wolves would fall out of each other's graces over the course of a number of incidents. Their healthy tradition of kicking each other's shit in whenever they saw each other would become a thing of the past, as when the Dark Angels were killing lots of people to capture some Fallen, the Space Wolves intervened, resulting in the escape of a number of Fallen. This relationship would get even worse as the Dark Angels discovered the Wolfen via a bunch of their corpses. The Wolfen being Space Wolves who had been overcome by their gene seed and turned into low-key werewolves. The Dark Angels assumed that these were Space Wolves who had fallen to chaos, even though ironically the Wolfen are extremely immune to chaos. As such, they were directed to Fenris and found it getting full-blown molested by chaos. Under the advice of some suspicious dude, the Dark Angels began bombarding the system of Fenris as a way of mercy killing the Space Wolves who they believed all had fallen. As this is happening, some Grey Knights walk into the command deck and are like, "Why are you bombing the Space Wolves? Also, that guy that has been giving you advice this whole time is actually a changeling of Titsnitch and has been manipulating events to result in you turning on the Space Wolves." So Supreme Grandmaster Azrael was like, "Oh, right. Whoops." Hence aided the wolves in fighting off chaos, although the wolves were rightfully pissed off. The Dark Angels would also fight in the battle for Cadia, however the planet was destroyed when Abaddon got his ass kicked, so made the ultimate sore loser play, crashing a Blackstone fortress into the planet and destroying it. A cool thing to note here is that when the survivors of Cadia were captured, it was Cypher who freed Gulliman and co on the condition that he be allowed an audience with the Emperor. Once they got back to Terra, Gulliman dogged Cypher a bit and had him seized. Obviously, Cypher escaped from that pretty quickly, but it begs the question, what does the spooky boy want with Skelly Dad? With the destruction of Cadia and the opening of the Great Rift, many of the Dark Angel Librarians were hit with visions of the Fallen, rallying en masse and preparing to re-enter the fray. This kinda indicates towards the Fallen just being another horde of chaos, which as I said would be a massive waste in my opinion. I'd like to see the Lion return and unite the Fallen with the Dark Angels, creating a powerhouse in the galaxy that would not only threaten the Xenos and Chaos, but also Gulliman due to his and the Lion's vastly differing political ideals. To make matters worse, the Rock is attacked by demons who free Luther and a number of other fallen angels from captivity. To make matters even worse, the Dark Angels get jebaited again by Chaos, once again nearly losing 1,000 Marines. You would have thought that they would have learnt by now that fallen hunting sucks, but no. As such, Azrael called a conclave of all the Dark Angels together to discuss their future. This once again was a iffy idea as multiple Dark Angel Librarians had to die in order to get the astropathic messages out, and a number of Dark Angel successor chapters were lost in the warp on their way to the Rock. As they gathered, the big G-Man arrived. Initially, Azrael considered attacking the Primarch as he was worried that G-Man had discovered about the Fallen, not that G-Man would care anyway. In reality, Gulliman had just come to give them their Primaris before telling them all what a great job they'd been doing, and then he quickly fucked off. The Dark Angels were happy to have reinforcements, however they were like, shit, how do we get thousands of new Marines to hunt the Fallen without asking any questions? Azrael was the only one that knew Luther escaped / was even imprisoned within the rocket initially, and one of the only ones that knew about the Fallen, so he had to somehow convince the inner circle that times were definite enough that they should trust the Primaris reinforcements, without actually telling anyone anything. But the Mad Lad pulled it off. After throwing all of his chips on red, he was able to come out of the debacle with a united Dark Angels Legion, I mean totally Codex compliant cluster of chapters working in harmony. The Dark Angels are now preparing for the storm that is coming. Azrael believes Luther will return at the head of a full legion of fallen angels. Meanwhile, the Lion, his gene father, sleeps under his very feet. I honestly think that the Lion will be the next loyalist Primarch to return. He is confirmed to be alive and we know his exact location. The Luther / Fallen plotline has opened up a massive unresolved conflict, which will be ripe with solid lore, as well as the fact that the Lion would be appalled by the current state of the Imperium. Maybe after unifying the Fallen and the Dark Angels into one of the most powerful forces in the galaxy, he could contest Gulliman's right to rule. Now that would be awesome. And that does us for today guys, part 2 of the Dark Angels lore, and basically all you need to know about the Dark Angels at a base level. Obviously there is more than 40 minutes of lore behind these bad boys, so if you're keen to play them or want to know more, then there is a lot of rich mini stories for them. They haven't even been in the limelight much recently, so I'd expect a narrative focus on them soon, hopefully with the return of the Lion. If you guys enjoyed this video and want to support the channel, then Patreon is the place to be. Only $1 gives you access to everything, including a boatload of Warhammer hentai. Click the subscribe button, then click the real subscribe button to see more. Join the Discord for more memes, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.